Hello, let's relax, immerse yourself in emotional stories, and explore the world of learning English through stories. Don't forget to press the sign up button and sound the alarm. Don't miss any new stories.
Use horse land to swing. In this imaginative story, we see good friends. They always care about each other's wishes and always create conditions that your friends make their own wishes. Prince Caroline wakes up. Open your eyes and jump out of bed when the morning light has filled here and there. By the hour and calendar of the kingdom, the prince was exactly 5 this morning. And it's going to be a wonderful day. You get dressed and walked out of the room before the servants knew you were awake. There's a pile of gifts in the outer room. As you walk among the presents, they're up to your belt. Your godmother's fairy. I sent you a very interesting toy. There's a label on it. Open me, I'll become something else. Every time it opens, Peter had a better toy than the previous one. First, it makes a hop-hop. And after the prince opened, it came up repeatedly. Then jump out from there and it's a spinning wheel. His boat is a dancing rope. Warrior statue flag box puzzle picture. A pair of stilts, a drum, a trumpet. A kaleidoscope. A steam-powered locomotive. And say exactly 100.5. The prince was not pleased, because those toys don't change back. You want the warrior statues again. You also want a steam locomotive running at the same time beside his boat. But the toys don't show to things. For a moment you think, the fairy should have given you 2 toys, to be able to combine the 2 at the same time. Finally, the prince opened up again. And from that came a kite. And when you hold the rope, jerky let the kite soar. The kite loses its form in the clear blue sky. So Effortlessly sat down and cried for the fairy. Oh, the false fairies. They often set traps to make for their children. It's unfortunate. Was that? He even took a pen and wrote her the lines. It's full of bad and ugly words. That it's a happy birthday. And you're opening up the perfect toy that she sent to. Come and see the rest of the gifts. I saw some things just opened, but they didn't change, which startled him. Suddenly, his eyes stared and flashed with joy. A branching black horse stand individually in the right corner of the room. Its tranquility dangles, the little golden bells, and the boars, the coral's tail and the horse's long mane dotted the ground. The prince leapt up on the saddle and sped across the room, and put my arms around the animal's neck. All the bells are ringing and ringing, and the horse's head nods up and down. The prince kissed the horse's forehead. The horse's eyes were red as fire magically lit up. It screams like a real horse, except it can't walk. But he's staring at the wall all the time, with hanging decorative carpet, the knights with weapons, out of battle. That's Prince Bli Dolin. Get on the back of the swinging horse, and all day riding and screaming. Challenge the knights to battle, or take them to fight the enemy. Tired of working late at night, he was lifted off the horse to carry into bed. Proline in her sleep thought she was a Ferris wheel. I'm rocking and listening to the ringtones. Then in the dream, the prince saw a country wide open in front of my eyes. The roar of battle and the whistle of the chase rushes. You're in danger to win. At midnight the boy fell asleep, and your heart is filled with love for the horse that swings. You gently crawl out of bed. You need to look at the horse, see where it stands in the next room, to be assured that it's safe and unafraid when you're alone in the dark. Open the hanging door. He went into the empty room outside. It's now full of toys. The moon's shining through the window. Make a dent in the floor. And suddenly, you notice the Ferris wheel has left where you put it. And move here. It's across the room and it's standing by the window. Its head turned to the darkness as to watch, watching the clouds and the trees swaying in the wind. The prince did not understand why the horse could walk. You are afraid of being stolen, so hurry to grab the reins. Ring the bells to calm yourself. Next to the horse, look at its face in the dark. He saw the horse's eyes filled with tears, and a tear fell to warm his hand. Why are you crying, my horse? The prince asked her. I cry because I'm imprisoned and not free. Please open the window and let me go. The horse swayed. But if I let you go, I'll lose you. You stay here if I'm not happy. The prince said, Let me go, because my brothers called me back to the land. The horse swayed and I heard my sweet horse are groaning in the labor. Give birth. They're all screaming for me. From the mountains to the abyss, all over my home country. My kind master, please let me go. I'll be back tonight and tomorrow morning. American horse begged Prince. I'm sure you'll come back. And what is your name to call the goat? The prince asked. My name is Ronald. I found a white hair in my mane. Please spit it out and wrap it in one of your fingers. If you keep your hair, you're still my boss. No matter where you are, I'll be back when you call the horse. So the prince looked for, plucking white hairs in horse mane, tied to the finger. He kissed the horse on the forehead and said, Rolinda, let's go. Because I love you, I want you to be happy. Come back to me during the day. When you finish, open the window. The horse swayed its head and let out a happy sound. And galloping forward like a racehorse, soaring into the open sky. Redolin watched the horse riding through the trees, inclined, and it echoes in the dark. and it's going faster than the wind is going out of shape. In the distance, the voices of the horses. The prince closed the window and went back to bed. And all night long, he had strange dreams about the land of the Ferry's wheel. You see, there are flat hills and the undulating valleys. There are no rocks and no trees on the ground. Ball like grinding steel, smooth as glass and strong winds blowing through. Makes a buzzing sound like bees unpacking their nest, pushing the horses as they swayed. The mares galloped like fire. Up and down, they sing to their backs all over the high hills and valleys. Who will come back today? The prince shouted, "Where's Rune?" And applauded as the horses reached their destination. Then he woke up and it was clear. You run, open the window, and give the white hair-bound finger a call. Rukan, come back. Call the phone back at a later time. The spinning horse is galloping, like dancing through the hills. It's through the woods, through the empty slot of the palace wall. He slipped through the window and landed on the floor beside the prince. He breathed heavily because he'd been on a long, stressful trip. Are you satisfied now? The prince threatened. Yes, Prince Ronaldo replied. And it doesn't say anything else. It's become the swing horse it was yesterday. Immobile eyes and stiff legs. No more movement. In addition to swinging up and down, and ring the ringing bells when the prince takes it off his back. That night, when the palace sank in silence, Dolin again visit horse. He's standing with his head up against the window when he saw the prince approaching the horse salute. Hello, boss. Can I go to tonight? And I'll be back in the morning. The prince opened the window again, watched a horse lose its form, and hear the horses of the land. The horse swayed the air. The next morning, he called Olin back. Since that day, it's been like this every night. And every morning, the horse kissed Dolin again and said, "Boss, greet the prince and transform into a ferry's horse again." A year has passed. One morning when I wake up, Dolin, remember today is my 6th birthday. And this is like my 5th birthday. You get as many toys as you did last year. Your godmother gave you a bird. A real bird. But when you pull the bird's tail, it turns into a gecko. When you pull the gecko's tail, it turns into a mouse. And when you pull the mouse's tail, the mouse turned into a cat. That's it. And he wanted to feed the cat the mouse. But that can't be done. Because the fairy wouldn't allow it. It turns out to animals at the same time. However, when you grab a cat's tail, it turns into a dog. And dogs turn into goats and cows into elephants. Become a guinea pig. Now the guinea pig has no tail to pull, so you can't change shape into another animal. Dolin is upset. Sit on the floor. Scream the reproaches of the fairy godmother. The most valuable gift this birthday. The king's horse. Give to the prince. The king said I was old enough to ride. So Bidolan got on the horse and sped it off. From morning to noon. For a long time. That's the same as when you rode the Ferris wheel last year. Just that day. Bidolan has become a proficient equestrian. And all the courtiers, the best horse rider. Ever since. The pride and joy of riding. It captured the prince's mind. Made that night. You forgot to open the window, let the floon out. Put your back to bed and sleep. And fall into a dream. Riding a real horse. With the cavalry into battle. The next night as well. But on Tuesday night, when you were asleep, you hear the cry by the bed. And I'm begging you. Prince, my good master. Please forgive me. My heart is broken because of homesickness. When Dolan opened her eyes, Roland's Ferry's horse was standing in front of him. Wear a dress full of tears. The prince was ashamed of forgetting his old friend. He stood up and hugged the horse. Have fun, Rune. My aunt will definitely let you go there. Then he ran to open the window, let Roland go. Roland is gone. Hello, Prince, my kind boss. He raised his head, a sound that startled the entire palace, and galloped back to the land of the Ferry's wheel. The violin prince stood at the window, carefully opened the horse's main hair pole at the finger. The chickens sleep at night. You whispered, goodbye to my brave and gentle Ronald O'Ronald. Go and enjoy happiness in your country. From now on, your old boss will not be the same. And in the distance, he heard the sound of the horses. In the land of Ferry's horses. A few years after Biden became king after his father. Celebrate your 5th birthday for your child. Early that morning. In gifts to seal the floor. There's a black swinging horse, with fiery eyes standing there. No one knows where the horse came from. It's the gift of AI. Until the king's own eyes recognized it. The horse looked exactly like Roland D. That he loved, like a baby. The king came next. He smiled and stroked his thick mane and spoke softly. Are you the son of Erun? The horse replied, greeting the prince and my kind boss. Then shut up without another word. The king called the prince, and tell me the story of Roland. And King Six looked in the horse's mane, spit out a white hair, tied to the prince's finger, and told you to keep your hair down. Always be a good owner to the horse. Son of Olin. Here comes the end of my rune story. Bear and Two Friends Aesop. This famous fable by Aesop. How many people have warmed up from the 6th century BC to the present? Young people can read here how to choose a friend to play with, and also define yourself, how to behave properly with friends. Two friends go through the forest together, waiting for the bear to show up somewhere. One ran to a tree by the road and climbed up there. They didn't spot the bear early. It's better if you have a bear next to you. I don't know how he fell to the ground and pretend to die. The bear came to him, sniffing all over him. The bear thought it was just a body and left. When the bear had gone, he climbed down the tree and laughed. "Hey bear, what's wrong with your ears?" The friend said. The bear said, "Never hang out with people who leave you in the midst of danger." Why frogs and snakes never play together. This African folklore, it shows us how many relationships are forgotten. Just because this guy told me I couldn't. They're friends with KI and vice versa. That time, there's a baby frog dancing along the tree. Grass dust. I found a stranger crossing the road. In front of me. Stranger long and peace. Its skin glowed like the 7 colors of a rainbow. "Hello there. What are you doing down the aisle?" the frog asked. "I'm warming up a little. My name is Snake." "What's the name over there?" the stranger replied and curled up and unfurled his tail. "I'm a kid frog. Would you like to play with me?" the frog replied. So the little frog and the little snake played a little bit together all morning in the grass. "Look at this. Let's see what I can do," the frog said to the snake and jumped up. "And we're down 5 times 7 times. I'll show you over there if you like frogs." Frog kid, just draw a little snake dance, and you both jump up and down. Jump in, jump out of the grass, out of the aisle. "Now look at me." The little snake said to crawl its belly up to the top of the tall tree. "I'll teach her if she wants to." So the snake taught the frog to crawl and climb the tree. By noon, they were both hungry. I decided to go home for lunch. We promised each other we'd see each other the next day. "Thank you for teaching me how to dance," he said. "Thank you for teaching me how to crawl up a tree." Then they both went home. "Go to the frog's house and show it to your mother." "MOM, see what you can do," the frog said, and Zhang's belly crawled. "Where did you learn that?" asked the frog. "The snake taught me. We've been playing together all morning." "He's your new friend," the boy replied. I didn't know the serpents were an evil breed. They have venomous teeth. Never play with any of them. His house too. And don't let me have to see the creeping back and forth with that stomach. That's not the custom of our house. Then the snake came home. And I'm also dancing. "Who taught your children that?" asked the snake mother. "The frog taught you." "It's a new friend of the little snake. It's stupid." I didn't know we were 6 chisels under the frog house. It's been a long time. It's been so long that not many people remember. From now on, if you play with frogs, just grab it and eat it. Let's stop dancing. It's not the custom of our family. So the next morning, when the little frog meets the little snake in the grass, it keeps a distance. "I'm afraid I can't crawl today." the frog said and jumped back. The little snake looked at the frog and didn't say a word. And he remembered what the mother snake had told him. If it comes close, we grab it and eat it. But remember how they played. And it's fun. And how much fun it was when the frog taught him to dance. So it sadly crawls into the grass. Then from that day, the little frog and the little snake will never play together again. But they used to sit alone in the sun. Everyone remembers the only day that they're friends with. The Selfish Giant, Asker 1. Like the giant in this fairy tale, we will find friendship when we give something of our own. Every afternoon after school, the children used to come and play in the giant's bed. This is a large garden of green grass. Here and there on the grass, beautiful flowers emerge as stars. And there's 12 peach trees in full bloom, flowering in the spring and bearing heavy fruit in the fall. Passing from one branch to another, you are so nervous that children have to stop playing to listen. We're so lucky to be here, the kids talk to each other. One day the giant came back. He went to visit his friend in the mountains and played there for 7 years. After 7 years, I said everything I had to say. Because their story is limited, he decided to return to his castle. When I returned to the castle, I saw the children playing in the garden. He roared, "What are they flying for?" The children are afraid to run away. "My bed is my bed," said the giant. Everyone should know this too, and we don't allow anyone to play around here, except I'm just me. So he built a very tall wall around it and put a board. Infringement will be sued. This giant is selfish. Poor kids have nowhere to play. They have to play on the street. But the road is so dusty and cramped that they don't want to. Ton learned about. They often stack around the high fence and talk to each other about the beautiful forest inside. We are so excited to be playing in there. Then spring came. The trees in the garden were in full bloom and the birds were singing. There's only one flower garden of the Selfish Giant. There is still winter. The birds didn't want to sing there because there were no children. And the peach tree forgot to bloom. Once a flower poked its head out of the grass. But when you see the sign, it's very sad for the kids. Get your head on the ground and sleep. Only snow and frost make you happy. Spring does not come to this garden. They cry out, so we can be here all year round, all month long. Snow covered the grass with its heavy white robes, and the frost painted the tree silver. Then they invite the wind to them. He was wearing a fur coat and growling all day in the garden, blowing down the sand-shooting chimney. "This is an unattractive place," he said. "We have to invite the hail." And the hail came, and 3 hours a day, hail scratching the castle roof until the French unload most of the tiles. And then it's running around the garden really fast. He's wearing blue clothes, and its breath is like ice. "I don't understand why spring is so slow," the Selfish Giant said as he sat by the window, overlooking the cold snow-white garden. "I hope the weather will change." But neither spring nor summer. Autumn for ripe fruit filled with branches. all the trees in the garden except the garden of the giant. He's too selfish, Autumn says so. And it's always winter with the wind and the hail. Frost and snow dancing around the trees. One morning the giant woke up to listen to some wonderful music. It's good for his ears. And he thought this music is that of the king's musicians passing by. Actually, it's just a chirping sound of a sparrow outside the window. But because it's been so long, he could no longer hear the birds singing in the garden. He saw it as a sound, the most wonderful music in the world. Then the hail stopped and didn't jump on his head. Then the wind stopped growling, and a soothing fragrance flew into his nose, through two open windows. I think spring has finally come, the giant said, and jumped out of bed and looked out the window. What did you see? I saw a wonderful scene. Through a small hole in the wall, the children crawled in and they sat on the branches. In each tree saw a small child. The trees in the garden were so happy to see the children again. They're covered in flowers. And wave your hands gently over the children's heads. Birds flying around and chirping. Flowers smile up in the green grass laughing. It's a beautiful scene. Only one corner is still winter. That's the furthest corner of the bed, and there's a little boy standing. You're too small to climb. And the boy walked around the tree crying. The poor trees are still covered in frost and snow. The wind whips growling over the head. Get up, the tree boy said. And it's lowering the tree's branches so low. It was low, but the boy was too small. The heart of the giant is broken. When you see that, I am so selfish, he said. Now we understand why spring doesn't come here. I'll put the poor boy carrier on the tree. We're going to lower the wall, and my bed will be a place to play forever. He really regretted what he had done. And he went down and opened the front door very gently, and go out into the garden. When the kids saw him, they're so scared they have to run away, and the bed back in the winter. Only the boy didn't run away. Because the tears are fading, the boy didn't see the giant coming. And the giant behind the boy. Put the boy in your hand and put him on the tree. The tree blooms immediately, and the birds come chirping. And the boy opened his arms wide, bowled the giant and kissed him. The children saw that the giant was no longer violent. They all run back, and with the kids spring comes. It's your bed now, my little ones, the giant said, and he took a big hammer. Put down the fence. When people go to the market at 12 o'clock, they saw the giant playing with the children in the garden. It's beautiful, they've never seen giants and kids playing together all day. When evening comes, they greet the giant. But where's our little friend? The giant asked. The boy I put on the tree. The giant loved him the most because he kissed her. We didn't know, the kids answered it. You have to tell me if the boy comes tomorrow, the giant said. But the kids said they didn't know where he was. I haven't seen the boy before. The giant felt sad. Every afternoon after school, the kids come and play with the giants. And the boy the giant loved didn't see. Giants are good with kids. But he's looking forward to seeing his first little friend again. I often ask about the boy. Why did I see the boy again? He used to say that. Year after year, it goes on, and the giants are old and weak. He no longer plays with the children, but sitting in a big armchair, watching the children playing and watching their garden. There are many beautiful flowers, he said, but children are the most beautiful flowers. It's a winter morning. He looked out the window while getting dressed. He doesn't hate winter anymore, because he knows that spring is sleeping and the flowers are resting. Suddenly, he was surprised and looked. Look closely. In the farthest corner of the garden, it's a tree that's still covered in white flowers, yellow tree branches and silver fruit dangling full of branches. Standing under the tree was the boy he loved. The giant was delighted, ran down the stairs and out into the garden. He rushed through the grass and approached the boy. As he approached, his face turned red with anger and said, "Who hurt you so?" On the boy's hand were 2 nail marks, and traces of those 2 nails, even in the little boy's feet. "Who hurt you so?" The giant called out, "Please tell me. I will take my great sword, break it into 100 pieces." "No," the boy replied. "These are just the wounds of love." "Who are you?" said the giant. And a strange terror invaded him. He knelt down in front of the boy. The boy laughed and said to the giant, "Let me play again in your bed. Today you will come with me to my bed. That's heaven." And when the kids ran in that afternoon, they found the giant lying dead under a tree covered in white flowers. This Khmer fable gives us a basic requirement of life. Make friends with everyone without putting yourself in a position they honor. Tibetai is the most powerful king in the world. When he ruled, there were 101 kings. Even the king of animals like the king of birds, the ghost Harkrush. King Serpent got knees. God is not. And the fairies also came to make friends with the king. One day, the Black Ant King led his entourage to meet the minister. "Please see King Tibetai. I want the king to be my friend." After listening to the king's request, when the king came to know the king, he was 3. "I'm the big king who goes to be friends with the Black Ant Sao. Ants are inferior animals. I am the most powerful in the world. Go back and fight with them." When the king said this, he advised the king. In the carpenter's tools, just like a blacksmith has a small one, a big one, each has its own use. If there's a big one without a small one, ask the workers if they can do the job perfectly. So the big one. Small ones don't all have the same benefits. Old days. The story of the Bodhisattva Maho said that. King Vitasat has a precious jewel on his neck. After a while, the jade strap is broken. There's no way to get through the jewel. King Sai Kwan went to find the Bodhisattva Maho to help. Bodhisattva Maho rubbed only small car. Put sugar on the end of the line, then apply honey through the hole of the jewel. So the black ant that bit the end of the line had sugar, pulled through the hole of the honey jewel. That's how the Maho Buddha helped the king. That's why black ants are not good at gypsy or Sao. I heard that the king gave his hand to the minister. Oh Lord, Tell the Black Ant King. I'm willing to make friends with the Ant King. The Black Ant King was glad to be satisfied. Pull the entourage back. Then one day, King Tipitay was sleeping when the maggots crawled into his ears. King Esser took his clothes. But the worse the maggots get, the more they wiggle. The King Tipitay even more sore. King Ku invited 101 kings and bird gods. The Serpent King came to the rescue. But no one can take the maggots out of the king's ear. Then the minister remembered the king of the black ants. He sent messengers to bring the king of the black ants to help him. King of black ants essayed 2 ants entourage into their hole. The king gave his hand to bite the maggots and pull the faucet out. So the hose is taken out. King of Patay. All the ear pain is only thanks to black ants, not anyone else. Crow and Wolf. There is a saying, choose friends to play, that's the note. We have to distinguish the good from the bad. The deer and the crow share a large tree. The deer are under the tree and the crows nest in the tree. The friendship between the deer and the crow became closer and closer. One day, the wolf came to the wolf's house to play. Truthfully believe the wolf. He promised he'll come to the wolf's house when he's free. Crows know wolves are not good. He advised the deer never to socialize with wolves. Listen to the wolf and believe that wolves should ignore what crows advise. And go around making out with wolves. Many times the wolf wants to eat deer, but seeing that deer has a big pair of cheetahs, so he did not dare to act. One day the wolf saw the hunter put a big trap next to you. Then he came out and made the deer eat meat. The wolf came back to play. The wolf led the deer right to the entrance. The hunter set the trap. And of course, the deer was trapped. I saw the deer trapped by the wolf. When the deer is exhausted, it will devour the meat. Crow at home waiting forever. It was almost evening, and the deer did not return. Fly to find you. To find the deer trapped. When the crow asked for love, the deer replied sadly, I didn't listen to you, so I was tricked by wolves. Brother Crow, maybe I can't see you anymore. The crow has been thinking for a long time. If the hunter comes back, you lie there and pretend to be dead. Whenever you hear me squeal, run quickly into the forest. That's how I got rid of the hunter. When the hunter came, I saw the deer lying flat thinking the deer was dead. Take the deer out of the trap. Then he stood up. Turn your eyes around to find a place to reset the trap before the deer comes back. Waiting for a good opportunity, the crow chirped. Today I hear the gift sign. Get up and run into the forest. So now escape. What anger to lose delicious prey. The hunter hurried to chase. With a knife to the branches of the tree, block the way to get the way. For fighting too hard. Knife blade cleave of rolling. Fell on the head of a cunning wolf lurking nearby. Make it die fresh. Brother, sister, sister. Like this, show me. Making friends with a bad person can have 7 consequences. Or something bad happens. To pray to the cat and mouse to tell the ceremony. Express this that makes the mouse sound bad. Agree to live with the cat. The cat said, we've got to have food in reserve for the winter so we don't go hungry. You are a mouse, so don't risk running around or you'll get trapped. That good advice is done. They buy a fat grater, but I don't know where to put it. After a long thought, the cat said, I see no better place to hide it than in a church. Because there's 01 AI dare to take anything. They put the fat under the altar. We only touch it when we need to open it. The opening is carefully hidden. But soon my cat has a craving for fat. The cat told the mouse, I want to tell you something. I have a cousin who invited me to be your godfather. She just gave birth to a son. Brown spotted whites, you've got to come for the patronage. I was away today. Take care of the house alone. The mouse said yes, go ahead. If you have something good to eat, remember to give me some. But what cats say is not true. Cats have no cousins. And no one's invited to be a godfather. My cat went straight to the church and crept over the fat. And then start licking and licking the open top. Finished eating. Cat strolling on the city rooftops. Looking at people. Bored of cats stretching their legs out in the sun. And every time I think of cat fat, I'm stroking my beard. The cat just went home. How did the mouse say you got back? It must have been a fun ceremony. The cat replied that everything was fun. The mouse then asked what the child was named. The cat replied casually, licking clean skin. The mouse screeched and licked the skin. It has a rare and strange name. Do you use that name in them? What does the cat ask so much about? There's nothing wrong with a thief. Of his godfather. After a while, the cat got hungry again and said that the mouse, Please help me. Please take care of the house alone again. I've been invited to be a godfather for the second time. The child has white hairs wrapped around his neck. It's too sweet for me to refuse. The mouse kindly accepted. The cat was carrying the wall to the church and devour for a while half the fat. It confesses itself. There is nothing better than eating alone and enjoy working that day. When the cat came home, the mouse asked, What is that child named? The cat is half smooth, half smooth. You sound strange. I've never heard that name. I swear that name is not in the world. Soon eat clumsily used mouth. The cat remembers that fat. Cat talking to mouse. I have to stand out as a godfather again. The child's body is completely black and his legs are white. There was no white hair on him. How many years have you had a baby like that? Stay at your house. The mouse licked the skin half clean. They're all the ones who listen to Koi as SAO. These names keep making me think nonsense. The cat said, You keep her in the corner of the house with a furry grey, and the tail of the shoe is hanging around, so I'm thinking, I won't go out for a moment. In the daytime, tell the story of life, while the cat is away. The mouse cleans the house. And cats are hungry for clean cups of fat. He thinks that only when the stomach is smooth will he rest assured. Until late at night. The cat just came home. The mouse immediately asked what the name of the baptized child was. The cat replied, Maybe that name doesn't please you. The name is Clean. The mouse is clean. That's a suspicious name. I've never heard of him ever being clean. What does that mean? Don't say that. The cat curled up and slept. From there on out, I don't see anyone inviting cats to be godparents anymore. Then winter came. When you go out, you can't find anything to eat. The new mouse thinks of the food reserve and tells the cat, "Cat, I'm going to get some fat. That fat I saved that day. It must be delicious now." Cats can answer too well. You must find it delicious to open. It's like sticking out the window and licking the air. Both of you go. When you get to the place remains the same. But it's just not. That's what the mouse says. Now I understand what happened. I just found out today that you really are my best friend. You eat. You're a godfather like that. First lick the skin and then breathe half. Then the cat screams, "Will you shut up? Just say one more ah. I eat you, and I don't take the skin now." Poor, the mouse couldn't hold its last breath. The sound just came out of the mouse's mouth. The cat jumped in. They just grab the mouse and swallow it.
Goodbye. See you next time. Wishing you a day full of health and success.